So, welcome to part two with my girl Tuesday, Christina. And it's great to do a part two. And we've talked a lot about your DJing, how you started out, your kids, your family, the boat cruises, you're practicing on the CDJ 3000s at Baseline.
hmm
So, I want to ask you what your day job is.
Yeah, so my day job is I'm a photographer and videographer. I have been one for 21 years. Gives
Wow.
my age away. Yeah.
Yeah.
I started out as a photographer and then video has been like the last 11 years,
Okay.
just as a natural progression. And originally I was weddings and families and corporate. And then I was moving out of that and actually moving into sports. I needed to get out of weddings. I was done. I was done with
Yeah.
weddings. I,
Yeah.
I love them when I love them. But it was time to now start trying to protect my weekends. And then I
Sports.
find DJing. So, so sports, and that's how I stopped playing piano lessons. I mean,
Yeah.
I did piano, I did ballet,
Right.
and somebody put a softball glove in my hand, and
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to be sitting down at the keys. I want to be out in the field. And so I played
Oh.
sports all my life. I played soccer. Volleyball is actually my main sport. I played
Okay.
baseball, I played basketball, all of that. So
So you still
um,
play all these now, or?
I still play competitive volleyball in a women's league, but
Uh,
that's how with my musical journey, like that just when you're playing sports, like there is nothing else. So I played that.
yeah. Yeah.
So once I got into that when I was 25, and so I discovered that I loved photographing and doing video for sports, and it's actually evolved into sports marketing. And my wheelhouse is also photographing like kids. I'm really good with kids and activity, which all of this makes sense, which is also why I loved weddings because it's like weddings are like sports,
Yeah.
very decisive moments. You have to be prepared, you have to be ready, you got to know where your spots are, all of that
Right.
kind of stuff. And so through the pandemic, that's where I pivoted into.
Okay.
And so now I shifted everything to my weekday stuff, which now allows me to teach on the weekends.
All
So
right.
if
Well,
that's going to happen,
has
not
the day
looking,
job stuff helped you with the DJing? Like, has any of
it
this stuff
has.
helped you?
It
How?
has because, it's one thing to DJ and know your music and be prepared that way, but you also have to be technically prepared. If you're a mobile DJ, the CDJ 3000s is one thing. You show up with your USB keys and you're ready to go, but you still have to be prepared on the mobile side of things. Like if I have
Right.
to bring my deck, I bring two laptops, um, professional courtesy. Um, Doing what you say you're going to do, and then also understanding events.
Yeah.
Like my goal right now for the next year, like as much as I want to be booked for certain day parties and day cruises, like I also like I want to be the best opening DJ that I could possibly be in this city. That's
Okay.
kind of a bit of a different goal, but that's just helps me to kind of hone in and focus on where my skills are,
Right.
what my contribution can be to an event.
Right.
And it also fits my lifestyle. I can't,
Yeah. Yeah.
the expectation to me for me to do a set from 12
To
from
three.
midnight to 2 a.m.
Yeah.
like doesn't
No.
fit.
No.
But you got someone coming in and they need someone to I look at also opening as such an important job because if you think about it, like you're a greeter, like a greeter at Walmart or at a store or something like that. Like you're the
Right.
first contact, you're the first impression. And so for promoters that put so much effort into putting on events and everything, you also want your best foot forward,
Yeah.
right? So
Absolutely.
that's how I contribute myself to a team like that because you know, it's important. Plus, also, I know I've gone to events too, and sometimes the opener DJs, like, I get it. They're new, they're on the low of part of the totem pole and whatever. I get it. But man, I still want to tap my toe. I still
Yeah.
want to. I still want to groove a little bit. I want
Yeah,
to, and
yeah,
so for me, I still it's important. And I like those 120 BPMs.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah,
when you grooving in that warehouse,
yeah,
Chicago 120 is right in my jam. I'm like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. That's
right.
right. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's how I kind of look at that as
Yeah.
yeah. So
Plus, if you
anyways,
want to have a drink after your set, and listen to the headline, or you don't have to be
yeah,
home till midnight. So
at a reasonable hour,
yeah, like have a drink and dance a bit or
Yeah,
whatever. That's a good
exactly.
idea. Yeah, I never thought of that.
I know. And I think of that through also learning about my job. Like I have to learn what other people do, the psychology of why they do what they do and why they market, how they market themselves and things like that. So I think of all of that when I'm it sounds complicated, but and really layered, but that's just how I look at things. And
Yeah,
so going through photo and video and understanding also the marketing side of things, and it comes back to the why. Why are you doing what you're doing? What is the
right.
end goal? Right? Because then
Yeah,
what's the point? You're just kind of drifting.
right.
And maybe some people want to drift. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm a
No.
parent. I don't. I ain't got time to drift.
Yeah, no. No, no, no.
So, and I want to
Well,
be
you got two
realistic
boys
too.
too. I could see that being busy. Right.
Yeah.
So,
And we're great. And it's been a fantastic ride. I mean, parenthood is a whole adventure on itself.
I
But
completely agree.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the other thing I want to mention too, when we talked about like how I'm able to still, practice and like with family and stuff, but um, because I'm practicing at home, but when I found out, we talked about a little bit about TikTok.
Right.
When I found out that you can live stream on TikTok, because the reality of it is probably even for yourself too, like I don't have time to go out and network for gigs. I really don't. I wish
Yeah.
I'm a little late in the game
Yeah.
in terms of age and to spend my time to support the events as much as I would love to. The reality is I just can't.
No.
And so when I found out that if you had 1,000 followers on TikTok, that opened the gate for live streaming. And so I was like, wait a minute, that's a live audience, which is not entirely the same as doing a live gig out,
Yeah.
like let's say, I don't know, Revival or something like that.
Right. Right.
But um, but at least you're performing, and so I would get a similar vibe. And so I was like, if I can keep doing that, then I can still keep practicing every week. Can I tell you that I live stream 4 hours plus a week now, which is more than I would probably live gig out in the scene. I'm getting more experience than I could ever bargain for,
So you got a
right?
thousand
And
followers, obviously, over 1,000 followers.
yes, I
Wow.
had over 1,000 in 5 weeks.
Wow.
And that was also the DJ TikTok community coming together, sharing their audience with me.
Oh,
They
that's
all helped to
nice.
promote, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they didn't know who I was. Who am I? I'm just and I'm also connecting with other moms from across the world who are going through a similar journey, similar age, with kids who have just learned how to DJ over the winter break. And we're all kind of in this little pool. It is incredible. I was like, what? Can't
Wonder
be.
if wonder if they got a dad's group. What do you think? Dad's
Oh
group?
my God. Can I tell you? Absolutely. You need to
Yeah.
come. I'm telling you, Jason,
Yeah.
come on in. It
All
will
right.
be like family. I really have a TikTok DJ family. It's incredible. So,
Sounds awesome.
yeah, but I wanted to share that for any parents that are wanting to think
No, and
that
I'm
they
totally
can do
glad
it
you
here.
did. And like obviously I have a vested interest in this because I'm in the same boat. The only difference is I'm male, right? And part of me getting back into the community is doing what I do best, which is stuff like this, podcasts. And I
Yeah.
miss radio. I miss just DJing. I miss the parties. I can't go out to as many as I used to.
Right?
So I'm like,
Yeah.
this is the
And
perfect person to interview. So yeah.
it's your channel, and that's the best part about it.
Yeah.
I get to curate all my own music. I get to try stuff. I get to take risks.
Yeah.
And they're so supportive. Every time I make a mistake, even the other seasoned DJs, and I mean 20 years
Yeah.
they've got under their belt from
Yeah.
gigging. And they're like, Christina, Tuesday, don't worry about it. Like, keep going. Yeah, you could have probably hit that other phrase, or you could have,
Yeah.
massaged it a little more. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
And like coaching, and they're so encouraging. So I want to come see you on TikTok.
All right.
You
Jeez.
should,
Yeah, I think I'll write TikTok a letter telling them to cut you in for some
yeah,
profit or something like that, trying to get me to get come in there.
dude,
It's a
I'm
big
making
job,
money
man.
off it. I'm
Yeah.
making money off of it.
Oh,
Not a
that's
lot,
awesome. Really?
but yeah, I'm not joking. This is the equivalent of it. I look at it as I'm busking. I've
Yeah.
opened up my guitar case, I've put it
Yeah.
on the sidewalk,
Yeah.
and it's not huge bucks,
Yeah.
but I'm getting paid a little bit that's helping me. Actually, I'm fundraising right now for my new deck.
Okay.
Everything that I'm gonna have, like I have a new mini little mixer,
Yeah.
all paid by TikTok dollars that the audience has donated to me. And
Hmm.
so that's also how I'm including them in my journey. So I've told myself that anything that I pay for, I have subs, um, that all covers my Serato subscription. It's all it's almost like it's powered by the people.
Yeah.
So that's also my connection to them. So it's been pretty amazing. So
That's awesome. So I
yeah.
still got two questions here, if you have time.
Sorry. Part three. Here we
Part
go.
three. My wife comes in. You still talking to that woman or what?
Right.
Heck yeah. So okay. So what are your musical and DJ influences?
So my musical influences would definitely be also stemming from like my childhood. So my dad, who, was a huge music lover. So we're going back to like the Police, going back to like Lionel Richie, the Supremes, jazz artists, Oscar Peterson, Charlie Biddle, they're huge Canadian jazz artists, John Coltrane, Miles Davis, Nina Simone. And then let's fast forward to the 90s. So I've got like late 80s, early 90s. I've got Crystal Waters, Delight, Black Box. I had them on tape.
Yeah.
um, Queen Latifah, Moni Love, Mary J. Blige, Biggie, Dre, and Maxwell, Tori Amos. I had to write them all down because it's just so many. But these are, if you can see, I have such an eclectic range,
Yeah, I know.
right?
And
And
that was because this is an electronic music show, but I'm finding through interviewing that
mhm,
once a one of my guests, get to the electronic music part, you got to talk about some of these influences like Lionel Richie and Sting. That kind of
totally,
gets you there. Not only that, I mean,
totally,
not on your disco and dishes mix, I did hear Lionel Richie on there, and I thought it was a
right?
fantastic blend in. I thought, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
that's my
And
favorite mix you do on your SoundCloud. So
thank you.
yeah,
That is one of my
yeah,
favorites too. Like it's
yeah,
huge. And it's like all these influence, like the Police is the first one that stands out for me. But when I dissected the Police, because I was like, why the Police? But the Police, their original sound is ska, which also
yeah.
connects to reggae,
Right.
right? Which is that swing beat. And
Yeah,
so that's how I break down. I'm like, why, what is it, the sounds that I'm loving? So I can go and find the
yeah,
tracks that I'm looking for, right?
yeah,
So that's, yeah. And so when we come to DJs, this is crazy. So I was never really like a huge DJ fan except for like when I used to rave. So it was like Armin van Buuren
yeah,
and Tiesto. And so like
yeah,
a lot of the classes, Paul Oakenfold.
yeah,
Um, but now that I'm going to the heart of what kind of house music I really love, going into the genres when we're talking about Chicago house. I mean, he's not as new, but like Mr. V,
yeah.
because I love that storytelling that he does. Frankie Knuckles. I mean,
Classic.
yeah. And my new favorite, and this is also Roy Davis Jr.
All right.
When I saw him in February, this is February, the beginning of March. Gosh, I'm like, God, man, I fell in love with his sound. He's the reason why I'm looking at layering tracks because I'm listening to what he does. And I don't try to break down DJs too much because I don't want it to influence too much of what I want to do. I just want to have an understanding though of the technical, like between a 2 channel and a 4 channel, and what he's producing,
Yeah.
right? So I can understand how to build my own stuff. But his stuff just gets me. I'm like, oh my God, he's a genius. He really is. He's amazing. But then I talk about like local Toronto DJs like Dakozy.
Okay.
Oh my God, that guy is it's just brilliant at what he
Yeah.
does. He's more like the melodic kind of trancey stuff, but
Yeah.
progressive house, but man, he's so good. We got DJ starting from scratch,
Ah, yeah. I'm trying to get him on a
right?
show, actually. I'll see
Oh
how it
my God,
happens.
you
Yeah.
gotta get him. I was on his boat party
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah.
I ran into 4 people that I knew, and I know I have there's some like 6 degrees, but I also know Russell Peters. Like he's not like on my phone, but
Yeah.
I kind of know a little bit about the comedy world from 20 years ago and all kinds of
Yeah.
stuff. So,
Yeah.
anyways, Russell was there, and so, but with Scratch, like his blend of like R&B and hip hop in with house music, that's his stuff that I love, that I
Yeah.
gravitate to. I mean, that guy can spin anything, but man, yeah,
Yeah.
Mark Oliver, um, you know, gosh. So that's kind of those have been like my
That's a fulsome
influences,
answer. That's a
right?
fulsome answer. Yeah. I think you knocked that one out of the park. That one
Going,
there.
going all over the map here.
You're good. You're good. All right. So this is my last question.
Mhm.
How do you feel that you have an influence on electronic music? Because I think you do, quite honestly.
Really?
Yeah, I
Can I
really
ask you
do.
why? Because I'm curious
So
about that.
I've never seen a DJ promote themselves like you do, like as a regular person who's, um, going through the trials and tribulations of parenthood, and that you still like to party at 46, right? Like that is
Interesting.
something that's fresh. So I think, like, I mean, in some of your previous answers, what I've heard from you is that you're inspiring moms around the world to get up and get up on the decks
I
and
think when it comes down to like again curating sounds that motivate people, that inspire people, that leave them feeling better than when they arrived. I say that in my lives when you come in, I want you feeling good. I always say at the end of my lives, I'm like, I everyone has such a good time.
yeah.
And I'm like, and then go out there and crush your week. And so for me, I'm like, if I influence anything, I'd be like motivation to to tackle your dreams, your goals,
Yeah.
whatever has been blocking you. I do that in my regular life, with my friends, my family. I'm like I said, I'm their number one cheerleader.
Yeah.
So I think if I can do that through music, if that's an influence, I mean, hell yeah. You
Yeah.
know, I want people because again, you're coming into different chapters of your life. I'm like, I want to show people I'm learning, and it's other people that are influencing me.
Right.
I'm meeting women, these 2 women that are like 50 and fabulous over in Australia.
Yep.
Man, the 2 of them, they are killing it on TikTok. 50,000 followers. They have like 1,000 people in their lives, and all they're doing is sharing all old school classic house music, some new
Uh
stuff. I got a lady over in the UK. She's got to be 50 something. She looks like Betty White, wearing the
yeah.
sweaters and everything. She's
Yeah.
killing the drum and bass, killing it. And I was like, what? You inspire me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, spread that message because we're not just moms at home, and we're not done. You're
No.
definitely not done. So
No, and I like to hear powerful words from powerful women like you. So I'd like to thank you for being on Influences podcast. I've really enjoyed our conversation.
thank you.
And yeah, like I said, man, I think you take that beginner out of the DJ because you're a DJ. Thank you so
I
much.
appreciate that, Jason. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast.
Awesome. You have been watching and listening to Influences Podcast. Influences Podcast is written, produced, and hosted by yours truly, Jason Haraschuk. Also produced by Angela Churchill,
aka Purple Sapphire. My social media consultant is Christina Laukinen, also known as My Girl Tuesday. Check out Influences Podcast on Instagram and TikTok at Influences_podcast. That's Influences_podcast. Thanks for watching and listening.